I was tinkering in my workshop when my grandson Tyler dropped by unannounced. He flashed his new smartwatch like it was a trophy from some big win. At 78, I'm Harold, a retired mechanic from our small Midwest town. I've spent decades building my prized collection of tools and equipment in this backyard sanctuary. It became my everything after losing my wife 5 years ago. People see me as a forgetful old man, but I've got a sharp mind and a secret knack for tech from online tutorials. My family thinks I'm out of touch, but I've quietly set up security cameras everywhere to protect what's mine. Tyler lounged against my workbench, smirking as he scrolled through his phone. He casually mentioned how he'd been flipping old junk for quick cash on online marketplaces. Tension built as he eyed my vintage drill press. He hinted it was collecting dust and could fetch a good price without me noticing. The emotional punch hit when he bragged, sell his equipment, he won't notice, thinking I was too senile to catch on. It hurt, coming from the boy I'd raised like my own. As he left with a wink, I wondered if he was plotting something closer to home. Little did he know, my hidden cameras were already rolling.
Just before you continue to watch, Joe would like you to subscribe to this channel and like this video. It would encourage him to keep his streak of thrilling revenge stories for you to watch. All right, back to the story. That visit stirred up old memories. I'd taught Tyler how to fix things when he was little, sharing stories about my factory days. Now his words felt like a slap. I sat there, tools in hand, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. But I wasn't going to let it slide. My workshop was my life, and no one was taking that away. A week had gone by since Tyler's visit, and I was back in my workshop, trying to fix up an old lawnmower. That's when I saw it. My favorite socket set was missing from its spot on the pegboard. The empty hooks looked back at me like angry eyes in the low light. It hit me hard because Tyler had come over the day before, saying he wanted to help with yard work, but he spent more time looking through my tools than doing any real work. I thought maybe I had put it somewhere else, but something felt off. I pulled out my phone and opened my online banking app. There was a small deposit from some seller account I didn't know. The email linked to it was Tyler's, no doubt. But then, poof! It disappeared, like he had deleted it fast to cover his tracks. My heart felt heavy, like a stone in my chest. This wasn't me being forgetful. It was my own grandson betraying me. How could he do that after all the times I had helped him? I grabbed my laptop to look closer, dusting it off from the shelf. As I opened it, I glanced at the security feed preview on the screen. There was movement outside. My eyes widened. What was Tyler doing? Sneaking back to my place tonight under the cover of dark? I froze, watching the shadowy figure on the camera. Had he come for more? My mind raced with questions and anger mixed with hurt. This was just the start. I knew it. That evening, I acted like I was napping in my old recliner, but really, I was watching the live camera feed on my tablet. The night vision made everything look green and spooky, like in those old movies. I saw Tyler sneak in through the side gate, his hoodie pulled down low over his face. He was whispering into his phone, saying stuff about easy pickings from the old man's hoard. It made my blood run cold. Then the big shock came. He reached out and grabbed my antique wrench set from the shelf. He muttered to himself about how he'd put it online and sell it for 3 times what it was worth, all to buy some fancy gaming stuff. Anger boiled up inside me, hot and fierce, mixed with this deep hurt. How could my own grandson, the kid I bounced on my knee, see me as just an easy target? I'd given him so much over the years, And this was how he repaid me?
As he tiptoed back out, thinking he was so clever, I hit the record button on the app. Now I had real proof, clear as day. But as the gate clicked shut behind him, a bigger question hit me hard. How much more had he already taken without me knowing? I sat there in the dark, my mind spinning. What else was gone from my workshop? I had to find out, and fast, before he came back for more. The betrayal stung like a fresh cut, but I wasn't done yet. My sharp mind was kicking into gear. The next morning, I got up early and went straight to my workshop. I started checking everything quietly, making a list of what was there and what wasn't. It wasn't just tools gone. My late wife's old sewing machine was missing from the storage corner. That thing was special. It was an heirloom she loved, and Tyler knew that. It hit me like a punch to the gut, bringing back memories of her sitting there sewing quilts for the grandkids. I thought back to last Christmas. Tyler had whined about being broke, so I'd loaned him some money. He never paid it back, and now it all connected to his talk about his side hustle. I felt tension building as I opened my laptop and looked at eBay listings. I matched them with posts on his social media. There were my items, hidden in blurry pictures up for sale. How could he do this? A wave of grief washed over me, remembering when he was little and I taught him to fix bikes in this very shop. We'd laugh and get greasy together. I saved screenshots as proof, my hand shaking a bit. Then my phone buzzed, a text from Tyler, inviting the whole family to dinner soon. It seemed too perfect. Was this the right time for my plan to start unfolding? I stared at the message, ideas swirling in my head. What if I used that dinner to catch him off guard? My heart raced with the thought. That weekend, we had the family barbecue at my place. Tyler played the perfect grandson, flipping burgers on the grill and making everyone laugh with his jokes. When I asked about my missing items, he just waved it off, saying it was probably my senior moments kicking in. He acted so sweet, but I saw right through it. I noticed his brand new sneakers, shiny and expensive looking. I'd traced a sale online that matched the money for my stolen gear. It had to be from that. Then came the twist. His sister pulled me aside in the kitchen and whispered that she'd heard him bragging to his friends about inheriting early. Like he was already counting on my stuff before I was gone. It made my stomach turn. Disappointment hit me like a wave, washing away the trust I'd built up over years of spoiling him with gifts and help. I'd always been there for him, and this was what I got? As the family packed up and left, waving goodbye, I went back to my workshop. I sat at my computer and upgraded the camera software to catch better audio. No more fuzzy sounds. I wanted every word clear. What incriminating phone call would it pick up next? I wondered, staring at the screen. Tyler might come back soon, and I had to be ready. The hurt lingered, but so did my determination. No one messes with my sanctuary. I heated my study that night, keeping quiet as I listened through the camera app on my tablet. The new audio was clear now, no more static. Tyler came back alone, slipping into the workshop like a shadow. He put his phone on speaker, talking to some buddy about their big plan. "We gotta clear out the whole shop before the old guy croaks," he said, laughing like it was a joke. He went on about how I'd never suspect a thing, and picked my bandsaw as the next thing to grab, said it would pay for mods on his car. The big shock was when he talked about pawning my stuff at the local shop I'd gone to for years. That place knew me well, and now my name could get dragged through the mud because of him? Fury burned in me, hot like an engine overheating, but sadness mixed in too. I remembered bailing him out when he was a teen, getting in scraps at school. I'd always had his back, and this was how he thanked me? He hung up the call and reached for another tool, stuffing it in his bag. That's when it hit me. I couldn't do this alone anymore. I needed help. But who in the family could I trust with all this proof? Emily, his mom, maybe? Or would she side with him? My mind raced as I watched him leave, the question hanging heavy in the air. I knew I couldn't keep this to myself anymore, so I called my daughter Emily, Tyler's mom, over for a talk. She's a good woman, always busy with her job, but she came right away. I showed her just one blurry photo from the camera, not the whole pile of proof yet. Her face went pale as she stared at it, recognizing Tyler's hoodie and the tool in his hand. "Dad, that can't be," she whispered. But then she sat down heavy, like the weight of it hit her. She told me she'd seen him spending money lately, new clothes and gadgets, but thought it was from a new job he mentioned. Now it all clicked, and the pieces fit like a puzzle. Tension grew as she said she'd talk to him subtle-like over coffee the next day. But when she did, he charmed his way out, saying it was nothing, leaving her full of doubt. The real heart part came when she cried in my arms, saying sorry for raising a thief under her roof. It broke me to see her like that, after all she'd been through raising him alone. She promised to keep an eye on him, help me watch. As she left, hugging me tight, my phone buzzed with a new camera alert. My heart skipped. Had Tyler just broken in again? I rushed to check the feed, fear and anger mixing inside. What now? The camera alert lit up my phone and I hurried to check the feed. There was Tyler, caught in the dusk light, loading my power sander into the trunk of his car. He was humming a happy tune, like he was just running a simple errand, not stealing from his own grandpa. I'd been smart about this. I'd marked some tools with invisible ink a while back, and when I shined my UV light around the shop later, his fingerprints glowed everywhere, like ghosts accusing him. Then came the twist. My email buzzed with a message from some buyer online, complaining about stolen goods they'd bought. The link went straight back to Tyler's seller account. It made the betrayal cut even deeper, like a knife twisting. I thought about all the family vacations I'd paid for with my hard-earned savings, how I'd skimped to give them good times. Now he was turning my life's work into quick cash for himself. With all this proof piling up, I started putting together a digital folder on my computer. Videos, screenshots, everything. But as I saved the last file, worry crept in. What if he went after something I couldn't replace next? Like my wife's sewing machine, or worse. My heart pounded at the thought. I had to stay one step ahead or lose it all. I woke up early the next morning, feeling uneasy, and headed straight to my workshop. What I found made my stomach drop. The place looked ransacked, tools scattered like someone had been in a hurry. My custom-built workbench vise was gone, the one I'd forged myself back in my factory days, hammering it out with my own hands. That vise wasn't just metal, it was a piece of my history, something I'd made when times were tough. I checked my phone quick, pulling up Tyler's text to his friends that I'd hacked into with a simple app. There it was. He was boasting about scoring some vintage iron and how he'd flip it for big bucks online. The real kick came from the security audio I'd captured, his voice mocking my obsession with all these tools, laughing like it was silly. He had no idea they were my way to cope after losing my wife, my therapy in the quiet hours. Heartache grabbed hold of me tight, like a vice itself, but it fueled my fire to stop him. I sat down and backed up all my files to the cloud, making sure nothing could get lost. Then my phone rang. It was Emily, sounding excited but worried. She said Tyler was planning a big party soon. My mind raced. Could that be my stage to finally expose him? I gripped the phone, ideas spinning. What better place than with everyone there? With the evidence growing, I knew it was time to set a trap. I spent the next few days installing motion-activated lights around the workshop, bright ones that would flood the place like daylight if anyone snuck in.
I also made fake decoy tools, cheap lookalikes I bought online, and left them out like bait on a hook. While doing that, I put together a full timeline on my computer, every theft with dates, times, and camera stamps. It was like building a case, piece by piece. Emily Starn pitched in too. She accidentally left my spare key on her kitchen table when Tyler came over, just to test if his greed would win. Sure enough, tension shot up when the cameras caught him later that night. He grabbed the decoys, laughing on the 4K video about what an easy mark I was. It twisted my gut to hear it. I flashed back to when he was a boy, sitting on my knee as I taught him right from wrong, how to be honest with tools and people. Now that was all twisted into him thinking he deserved everything without earning it. As I sent out invites for the big family dinner, doubt crept in. Would the family believe all this footage when I showed it? Or would they think I was the crazy old man? My heart raced, but I had to push forward. The trap was set, and dinner was coming. Emily started to waver after I told her about the trap. She came over the next day, her eyes worried, and begged me not to show the videos at the family dinner. "Dad, it'll tear us all apart," she said, her voice shaking. She feared a big rift, like the family would never be the same. I understood her worry, but I couldn't back down. I pulled out my laptop and showed her the full log, videos, timelines, everything. It added up to over $5,000 worth of stuff he'd stolen, piece by piece. Her face crumpled as she scrolled through it, realizing how deep it went. Then came the twist. A friend from the old factory days tipped me off about a pawn shop receipt he'd seen, with Tyler's name right on it for one of my tools. I printed it out and handed it to her. Sorrow hit us both hard. She hugged me tight, tears wetting my shirt, and vowed to stand by me no matter what. "We'll get through this," she whispered. It meant the world having her support after feeling so alone. With the dinner table set and invites sent, I felt ready. But as I double-checked my setup, a last theft alert flashed on my phone. My heart jumped. What final item had Tyler swiped this time? I rushed to the camera feed, dreading what I'd see. Was it something that would push me over the edge? The suspense gnawed at me, but I had to stay calm for what was coming. The cameras were rolling clear as day when Tyler showed up again that night. I watched on my tablet as he grabbed my rare engine hoist from the corner of the workshop. He grunted under its weight, sweat beading on his forehead, but his face lit up with a giddy smile, like he'd hit the jackpot. "This baby's gonna make me rich," he muttered to himself, already thinking about the profit. I'd checked the Wi-Fi logs earlier. They showed he'd looked up its value right there in my shop, using my own internet without a care. The big reveal hit when I saw his phone screen on the video. He was texting a buyer right in the middle of the theft, sending pics and haggling over price. That sealed his trail, digital proof I could use. Rage bubbled up inside me, hot and fierce, but it was mixed with this sad pity. How had my grandson fallen so far, into this downward slide of greed and lies? I'd seen signs before, but ignored them, hoping he'd turn around. Dinner was set for tomorrow, the whole family coming. It was time to set the scene, get everything ready for the big show. My heart pounded as I planned it out in my head. Would this finally stop him, or make things worse? I shut off the tablet, staring into the dark, ready for what came next. The workshop felt colder now, but my resolve was strong. The day before dinner, I got the dining room ready like a stage for a big show. I hid my laptop under a tablecloth connected to the TV so I could play the videos easy. I put out family photos all over, pictures of Tyler as a kid, smiling with ice cream on his face, and ones with the whole bunch at holidays. It was to make the emotional part hit harder, remind everyone what we'd lose if this went bad. My hands shook a bit as I set plates, but I stayed focused. Tyler showed up early the next evening, offering to help set the table. He was too helpful, smiling wide, but his eyes darting around like he sensed something off. Tension built during small talk. He kept bringing up my forgetfulness, asking if I'd lost anything lately. "You okay, Grandpa?" he said, probing like a fox sniffing for weakness. It tugged at my heart, remembering his innocent days, running around the yard, begging me to push him on the swing. How had that boy turned into this? As the rest of the family arrived, chatting and hugging, I sat quiet, my finger hovering over the remote. I'd queued up the video playlist, all the proof ready to roll. But as we sat down to eat, doubt crept in. Would it play without a hitch, or glitch and ruin everything? My pulse raced, the moment drawing near. What if the tech failed me now? Plates clinked around the table as everyone dug into the roast and veggies I'd cooked up. The family was all there, chatting and laughing like old times. Tyler took over the talk, going on about his entrepreneurial wins, bragging how he'd turned junk into cash with his online flips. He sounded so proud, but I knew the truth behind those stories. I steered the conversation gentle-like, toward family heirlooms, asking if anyone had seen my old sewing machine. Tyler squirmed in his seat, his smile fading just a bit, but he played it cool, saying maybe I'd lent it out and forgot.
Then came the twist. Emily slipped me a folded note under the table while passing the bread. I peeked at it quick. She'd found his latest sale listing online, my engine hoist up for grabs. My blood boiled, but I kept a straight face. The warmth from the meal, the smells of home cooking, clashed hard with the storm inside me. It was like eating with a snake at the table, pretending everything was fine. We finished the main course, and I served up dessert, apple pie, everyone's favorite. As forks hit plates, I cleared my throat and announced, "I've got a surprise video to show you all." Eyes around the table turned curious, heads tilting my way. What was coming next? Tyler looked a tad nervous, but no one else suspected a thing. My heart thumped loud in my chest, the moment finally here. The screen on the TV flickered to life, and the first video clip started playing. There was Tyler's voice, loud through the speakers, bragging about selling my stuff because I wouldn't notice. Gasps went around the table like a wave. Emily covered her mouth, and his sister stared wide-eyed. The footage kept going, showing him clear as day, pocketing my tools one by one in the workshop. His face was right there, no mistaking it. I narrated calm and steady, pointing out each bit. "See, that's my socket set, and here's the timestamp." The big reveal hit when the dates matched up perfect with the alibis he'd given us for where he was those nights. His stories crumbled like old drywall, no way to deny it now. Shock froze everyone, and I saw shame flood Tyler's face, turning it red. He looked down at his plate, not saying a word, while the family whispered in horror. My heart ached, seeing the hurt I'd caused, but it had to be done. The video ended with him loading the engine hoist, the last straw.
But as the screen went black, Tyler jumped up from his chair and bolted for the door. What escape was he plotting now? We all stood, calling after him, my mind racing. Had he planned for this? The driveway lights flicked on outside. Where was he going? We all jumped up and chased Tyler out to the driveway, the night air cool on my skin. He stood by his car, yelling that it was all fake, deep fakes or some tech trick to frame him. His voice cracked, but his eyes were wild, like a cornered animal. I stayed calm, pulling out my phone and showing the live app feed right there. His trunk was still open, my engine hoist sitting plain as day inside. Caught on camera. No way to lie about that. Emily burst into tears, grabbing his arm and pleading, "Just tell the truth, son. We can fix this." It was the emotional high point, seeing her break like that. My daughter, strong as steel, now sobbing over the mess he'd made. The family stood frozen, whispers turning to silence. Tyler's shoulders slumped, and he crumbled, admitting it all. "I was in debt, Grandpa. Gambling online, stupid stuff. I thought you'd never miss it." His words hung heavy, greed laid bare from bad choices piling up. But just as he finished, blue lights flashed down the street, police sirens wailing closer. Who had called them? I hadn't, and Emily shook her head no. My heart raced. Who else knew about this? The driveway lit up as cars pulled in, officers stepping out. Tyler's face went white. The night was far from over. What twist was coming now? The sirens got louder, and 2 police cars pulled into my driveway, lights flashing blue and red across everyone's faces. Tyler froze, his eyes wide like a deer in headlights. "Who called you?" Emily asked the officers, her voice shaky. One cop explained it was my neighbor across the street. He'd seen some footage I'd shared with him earlier, just in case, and recognized the thefts crossed state lines from the pawn shops Tyler used. I'd tipped him off about the videos, never thinking he'd act so fast. Tyler's face went pale as they read him his rights and clicked the cuffs on. The family stood there in stunned silence, nobody knowing what to say. Then came the twist. The cops had already checked pawn records, and they confirmed sales over state borders, which bumped up the charges to something federal. It hit me like a ton of bricks. Relief washed over me that it was over, but regret gnawed too, for how I'd come to this with my own kin. As they led him to the car, Tyler leaned close to the window and whispered something fierce. His eyes locked on me, a threat that chilled my bones. What revenge did he vow right there, with hate in his voice? I stepped back, heart pounding, wondering if this was really the end or just the start of more trouble. The night felt heavier now, shadows longer.
A few days after the arrest, things got quiet around the house, but not in a good way. Tyler called Emily from jail, his voice full of anger over the phone. He blamed me for everything, saying I'd ruined his life by exposing him like that. He hinted at having hidden friends who could help him get back at me, make me pay. Emily told me about it later, her face worried, and it set paranoia buzzing in my head like angry bees. I couldn't shake the feeling someone was watching. I spent hours fortifying my home, changing locks, adding more cameras, even beefing up my computer firewalls with tips from online videos. I wasn't tech-savvy like the young folks, but I'd learned enough to protect my stuff. Then came the reveal. My system logs showed a hacker trying to break into my cameras, probably one of Tyler's buddies from his shady online world. But my setups held strong, blocking them out cold. It was a small win, but loneliness started creeping in, cold and heavy. I questioned if showing the videos was worth splitting the family, leaving me alone in my workshop with just memories. Then one morning, a package showed up on my porch. No name on it, just my address. Inside was one of my stolen tools, wrapped careful. Who sent this anonymously returned tool? My heart raced. Was it a peace offering or something more sinister? I stared at it, suspicion growing. I opened the package careful, my hands steady despite the shake inside. There was my vise, the one I'd made myself, shining like new. A note slipped out. "Sorry, Grandpa, from a friend." No name, just that. I didn't buy it being from some stranger, so I called a buddy from the old days who knew forensic stuff. He traced the shipping label back to one of Tyler's pals, maybe forced to send it or feeling guilty. It eased a bit of the ache, knowing not everyone in his circle was rotten. But tension hung thick as we started family therapy sessions the next week. We sat in a circle at the counselor's office, raw feelings spilling out like oil from a bad engine. Emily talked about her fears as a mom, and I shared how the thefts cut deep after losing my wife.
Tyler joined from jail sometimes via video, mumbling regrets that sounded half real. The heart-mending part came when Emily pulled me aside after one session, hugging me tight. "Thanks for the tough love, Dad. It might save him." Her words warmed me like fixing a broken part right.
Yet, as days passed, I saw stuff online. Viral posts on social media about a thieving grandson busted by his smart grandpa. Details matched our story too close. Who had leaked it all? My mind raced. Was it a family member or one of Tyler's so-called friends? The buzz grew, and I worried what storm it'd bring next. It started small, but then a thread on Reddit blew up overnight. Someone had posted my edited footage, faces blurred and names changed, but folks in our small town knew it was us. They called it the Grandpa's Revenge Story, with clips of Tyler stealing and the big dinner reveal. Views shot up into the thousands, then millions, as it spread to other sites. Tyler's friends backed off fast, unfriending him online and in real life. His reputation was in the trash, whispers following him everywhere. It hurt to see, but part of me felt he earned it. Then came the twist. My inbox filled with messages from strangers, supporters sharing their own tales of family betrayal, like uncles stealing heirlooms or kids pawning parents' stuff. It made me feel less alone, like my pain had a purpose now. Empowerment rushed through me, turning the hurt into something strong. I even replied to a few, offering advice on cameras and trust. The story went viral, news sites picking it up as a caution tale about greed. But as the buzz grew, worry set in. Tyler's lawyer sent a letter threatening to sue me for defamation, saying I'd ruined his name on purpose. Could he really do that? Drag me to court over the truth? My heart sank, staring at the paper. What if this fame turned into a nightmare? The phone rang. Emily, sounding scared. The legal stuff kicked off a few weeks after the viral storm. Tyler's lawyers stood up in court claiming I'd set a trap to catch him, like it was all my fault. But my evidence was rock solid. Videos, timestamps, receipts, everything lined up perfect. The judge banged his gavel and ruled in my favor, saying no entrapment when someone's just protecting their own. In the hearing, it all came out. Tyler's gambling debts were the real reason, piles of money lost on online bets that pushed him to steal. He'd hidden it well, but the court dug it up, making his motive clear as day.
I took the stand to testify, my voice steady despite the nerves. I told the whole story, from the first missing tool to the dinner reveal. At the end, I looked right at him and said I forgave him publicly, for the family's sake and my own peace. It wasn't easy. Victory tasted bittersweet, like winning a race but losing a friend. The courtroom went quiet, folks nodding along. As the hearing wrapped up, Tyler shuffled over to me in the hallway, his face a mix of shame and something else. He leaned in close. What did he say next? My heart skipped, waiting for his words to drop like a bomb. Was it real sorry or more trouble brewing? The moment hung there, thick with unknowns. In the courthouse hallway, Tyler shuffled up to me, his head down like a whipped dog. "I'm sorry, Grandpa," he mumbled, his voice low and shaky. "I messed up bad. I'm gonna go to rehab, get clean from the gambling." His eyes were red, like he'd been crying, and he promised to make it right. Skepticism fought with hope inside me. I wanted to believe him, but after all the lies, it was hard. Part of me saw the boy he used to be, the one who'd helped me in the shop without asking for a thing. Then came the reveal from the lawyers. He'd sold less than we thought.
maybe half the stuff. Some items got recovered from the pawn shops, like my power sander and a few wrenches, waiting for me to pick up. It lifted a weight off my chest, knowing not everything was gone forever. Family bonds were still strained, like a rope frayed but not snapped. We talked more now, careful words mending the breaks slow. Emily smiled at me across the hall, a sign things might heal. As we parted ways, him heading back with the guards, my phone buzzed in my pocket, a new alert from the workshop cameras. Everything looked secure for now, no shadows moving. But how long would that last, I wondered, stepping into the sunlight, a chill running down my spine? Was trouble really over, or lurking just out of sight?
Months rolled by after the court stuff, and things started to change slow but sure. Tyler got out on probation, and we set up supervised visits at my place. Emily came along each time, keeping an eye as he helped me restore the workshop. He'd sand down shelves or organize tools, working under my watchful gaze like a hawk. At first, tension hung thick in the air, words careful and short. But as days turned to weeks, we had honest talks. Him opening up about his gambling mess, how it started small and snowballed into debt that swallowed him whole. I shared my side too, how losing my wife left me clinging to this shop like a lifeline. Then came the twist that caught me off guard. One afternoon, Tyler showed up with a box full of my pawned items. The wrench set, the sander, even a few small bits I'd forgotten. He'd bought 'em back with money from a real job he got flipping legit stuff online. No stealing this time. Pride swelled up in me big, seeing that spark of growth in him, like watching a bent nail straighten out. It wasn't perfect, but it felt like a start. Yet as we wrapped up that day, shaking hands awkward but real, a final secret nagged at me. What hadn't I uncovered yet? Something in his eyes hinted at more, and my gut twisted. Was there another layer to this whole mess? I locked up the shop tight, wondering if peace was real or just a pause.
I couldn't shake that nagging feeling, so I kept digging on my own. Late one night, I went through old emails Tyler had left open on a family computer once, stuff I'd backed up just in case. What I found shocked me deeper than before. His debts weren't just from gambling. They came from scamming other folks online. Fake deals and tricks that pulled in cash quick but left folks hurt. He'd ripped off strangers, not only me, building a web of lies that tangled him up bad. It explained why he'd turned to my tools, desperate to pay off folks chasing him. I confronted him the next visit, showing the printouts in the workshop. His face crumbled, and he broke down sobbing on the floor, confessing everything. "I didn't want you to know how low I'd gone, Grandpa," he choked out. It was an emotional flood, tears from both of us, but we talked it through. Mutual forgiveness washing away the bitterness. Our ties felt stronger after, like a weld holding firm. The workshop started to feel whole again, tools back in place, memories good once more.
Yet, as peace settled, I got an invite for one last family dinner. It echoed that first barbecue where it all started, but this time transformed. No secrets, just healing. What would happen around that table now? My heart hoped for the best, but life had taught me to stay ready. We gathered around the table once more for family dinner, the air filled with smells of roast and fresh bread, just like that first barbecue where the trouble started. But this time, no shadows hung over us. Everyone smiled real, chatting easy. I waited till after the main course and hooked up my laptop to the TV again. "Got another video," I said, my voice steady. The screen lit up with a montage I'd put together, clips of Tyler and me restoring the workshop, tools gleaming new, him handing back items with a grin. No thefts this time, just fixing and laughing. Gasps turned to chuckles around the room, Emily wiping happy tears. Tyler raised his glass for a toast, his eyes clear and strong. To lessons learned, and to Grandpa for showing me the right way. The big reveal hit when he shared he'd started a legit tool-flipping business online, buying fair and selling honest, crediting my influence for turning him around. Joy bubbled up in me like a fresh spring, overflowing as we clinked glasses. The family felt healed, bonds mended tight. As plates cleared and folks hugged goodbye, I smiled wide, proof that revenge could spark redemption, turning bad to good. But deep down, I knew vigilance never sleeps. What if old habits whispered back? I locked the workshop that night, cameras humming quiet, ready for whatever came.
If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like this video, comment, and smash the subscribe button. Also, check out other videos on the channel. Joe's got more interesting stories for you.